Caloroga Shark Media.
Hi there, I'm Johnny Mac with 5 good news stories, and yes, it was Panda Monium in Washington, D.C. A 12-year-old won the Lego Discovery Center's Mini Master Model Builder qualifying competition. That's a lot of words. Ricky grabbed some Legos and built a scene with pandas, taking over famous Washington locations, including the Washington Monument, the Natural History Museum, the Hope Diamond, the Declaration of Independence, a metro station, and the stovepipe hat from the Lincoln Monument. Ricky, the 12-year-old, said it easily took 100 hours to complete. Malcolm was walking through a field last August. He had a metal detector. He found a ring dating from the 18th century. The lost jewelry is believed to have belonged to Sir Bassingbourn Gaudry, who, as you know, was the 3rd Baronet of Harling. Sir Bassingbourn died in 1723, a year that was engraved on the inside of the ring. It is a mourning ring, mourning with a U in it. Mourning rings are worn in memory of someone who has died, typically bearing the name and date of the dead person. They were fashionable during the early 1800s. Malcolm tells the story. It was 6 inches down. I dug a little careful plug out and looked in the hole. The sun was out. It was shining in beautiful, bright, pure gold. It was exactly like the day it was dropped on the ground. I was shaking. It's a form of time travel. Instantly, you're back to the 1700s or Roman times. It's only one of 2 things I've found in my detecting career with a name on it. You don't often find anything with a human connection. It is a unique ring. Scientists are at it again. They're trying to figure out tickling. Neuroscientist Constantina Kiltini says tickling is a complex interplay of motor, social, developmental, and evolutionary aspects. If we know how tickling works at the brain level, it could provide a lot of insight into other topics in neuroscience. Tickling can strengthen the bond between parents and children, for instance, but how does the brain process ticklish stimuli, and what is the relationship with the development of the nervous system? We know that apes and gorillas respond to ticklish touches, and even rats have been observed being so. Who's tickling a rat? From an evolutionary perspective, what's the purpose of tickling? What do we get out of it? Scientists are also trying to figure out why we cannot tickle ourselves. The theory is because we know when and where we're going to tickle ourselves, the brain can switch off the tickling reflex in advance. A bear in Florida was in a hot tub. It was then taking a nap. I like this bear. The bear was caught on camera soaking it up in the resident's hot tub, then removed the cushions from an outdoor couch and took a 6-hour nap in the backyard. This sounds a lot like me, but it's about to sound a lot more like me. How did they capture the bear? Wildlife officers got the bear to move by laying out some donuts. That really does sound like me. I want to talk to you about a new book by author Carl Barney about something we all strive for, happiness. You weren't born to coast through life. You were born to feel alive, to wake up with energy, to live a life that excites you. The new book, The Happiness Experiment, is the tool to help you do just that. It's not fluff. It's a practical system to help you find your unique version of joy, meaning, and drive. It's time to stop surviving and start thriving. If you want to learn more, take a few minutes at the end of this podcast and listen to an interview about the Happiness Experiment and how you can bring it to life. Plus, to discover your unique happiness type by taking the free assessment at myhappinesstype.com. That's myhappiness.com. Then grab your copy of The Happiness Experiment at booksamillion.com. That's BOOKSAMILLION.com. booksamillion.com. Boy, there's been a lot of this type of story lately, but I'll just do the usual setup. Good news! We found your sheep. The Milwaukee Area Domestic Animal Control Commission said local police received a report of a sheep on Forest Home Avenue. Apparently the sheep was pretty fast. A local representative told the TV he was booking it. Even the officer who brought him in said he was really running down Forest Home, so he was panting. He was exhausted. He was stressed out. They were able to create a outdoor pen for the sheep and help it cool down with some shade and water. The rep said he was really friendly. He was very sweet, so call us if you happen to see a goat or sheep or something running around downtown Milwaukee. Not something you normally see, but we're here to help if need be. Appreciate you guys. All right, those are your 5 good news stories for today. I hope you have an awesome day. See you next time. Coming up, a bonus interview.
Our sister, I'm going to bring forward yours and give it to you now. And he said, oh, wow, that's great. Thank you. That's so generous of you, Carl. That's great. But his wife, my sister-in-law, went ballistic. She said, this is too much money. This is wrong. I don't want anything to do with it, and stormed out of the room. And I thought, well, that's not what I expected. Oh my God. So I realized from that this was not an easy thing to do. So I learned a lesson from that, and I knew that I had to do this authentically. I had to do it right. Otherwise, it was not going to work. So that happened. And then the third thing that happened was that I was looking at my financial statements, and I had more money there than I was really using. It was sitting there. I mean, it was growing, making profits and so forth, but it wasn't being used. I wasn't using it for me. I wasn't using it for things that I really cared about, not for my people. So I thought, well, if I have all this money now, why should I wait until I die? Why don't I bring it forward? And then, it was a long process for me to come around to that, but that's what finally started this. And I said, well, I'll do it now.
Let's back up just a bit. Tell us a little bit about your new book. What is the happiness experiment?
Well, this is a recording of the real events with real people who I decided that I would bring forward the inheritance, the money I had for them in my will, and made it a prequest. So it was a chunk of money that they were going to get while they were still young enough to enjoy it, and I was still alive to see it happening. So I saw what they were doing. So when I sat down with them, I talked about money and happiness and how one can be connected. I said, look, I'm going to bring this forward and give it to you. But what I want from you is a plan so that you use this money. So it's really a big benefit for you. I don't want this to overwhelm you. And they said, what kind of plan? I said, I want a happiness plan. And they said, a happiness plan? What's that? So nobody seems to have a happiness plan. But it's one of the most important plans you can get. And it doesn't have to be very complex. What is it that makes you happy? What values do you want to pursue? What goals and dreams do you have? And you can pursue them. And so I got them to write a happiness plan. And then when I saw the plan, I gave them all the money all at one time. And so then they took it, and I watched them with their plan. I saw all their plans, what they did, and how they became happier. And so, that had to be written about. So, because I wanted other people to see what they did so that they too could do the same thing.
Which prequest is the most unique one you've come across?
Well, it was a very, very painful and sad story because two dear friends of mine had a beloved daughter, and she was hit head on by a drunk driver and killed. She happened to be 8 months pregnant at the time, so that killed the granddaughter too, and also their daughter. They were totally, totally wiped out, devastated, and they died emotionally. They had decided that they could never be happy again, that it would be wrong to be happy. They didn't deserve to be happy because their darling daughter had been killed. Tremendously painful, awful, awful story. So they were grieving 6 years later. And I met with them, and I told them how much they had added to my life and how much I was so grateful to them and that I wanted to express the gratitude. And I put them in my will, and they could accept that. And I said, but I want you to have it now. And they said, oh, no, we can't accept it. They turned it down. Well, we worked. I said, look, I'm leaving it open. So several months later, I think his wife persuaded him to do it, actually, so they said, okay, we'll do it because if we're going to wait until you die, why not do it now? And they did it. And it wasn't the money, interestingly enough. They said it was the coaching that made the big difference. That changed their mindset from being so negative. We'll never be happy again. We don't deserve to be happy. And the coach turned their thinking, their mindset around and said, look, you can be happy again. And they started to get the mindset of happy people. And now you cannot believe what these people, they're traveling all over the world. They're in Tahiti right now. They climbed Kilimanjaro. These people are loving life. And it was a major change. That is one of the most heartfelt, wonderful results of the and in a sense, she said, the wife said, this prequest saved my life because we were no longer living. We were dead. And this brought us back to life.
Yeah, I mean, dealing with grief, and many of us have, I have, when you're in those depths, it can be really difficult to find your way out of it. And, often it looks like there isn't a way out of it. And, sometimes you want a map, right? And it looks like this concept could be a good map for you if you're that. It sounds like it was for these folks. I always like to end interviews by asking, is there anything that I didn't ask that I should have?
how can my listeners benefit from this book? What should they do? What would be good for them? And so I'll answer that question. First off, think about happiness. Think about being happiness. You deserve to be happy, and you can be happy, but you have to make it as a choice. I'm going to increase my happiness. Just that, if you make that realistically, I want to, and I'm going to increase my happiness, that choice, and then talk to people about it. Talk to a husband or wife or a girlfriend or a friend, a therapist or coach. Talk to somebody about it and say, look, I made the decision that I want to be happier, and I'd like you to help me create a happiness plan. And then work on it. And it's not that hard, but it is challenging, but it's a wonderful exercise. And if they do it, I guarantee they will increase their happiness. I guarantee it.
Carl Barney is the author, and the book is called The Happiness Experiment, A Revolutionary Way to Increase Happiness. Carl, where can people find the book?
Wherever books are sold, and it's now available for pre-order from Amazon, and they can go to thehappinessexperiment.com, and they can pre-order it there, and I hope they will.
Carl, thanks so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Dan. It's been fun.
You can call me James. I spent 23 years designing aircraft that officially don't exist for agencies you think TV made up. Until I started asking the wrong questions. Navy ships are recording objects moving at impossible speeds. Infrastructure is failing in coordinated patterns. The moon looks smaller than it did 10 years ago. None of this is a coincidence. The official explanations don't add up. This is Paranormal Aliens, where we connect the dots they don't want connected. If you're hearing this, you know where to get podcasts. Follow Paranormal Aliens. New episodes weekly until they shut me down.
Hey, my name is John Podhoretz. I'm the host of the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast. We try every day to give you a sense of where America is, where the world is, where Donald Trump is, where the Democrats are, where the Republicans are, where American society is, and where it's headed. Lively, significant, important topics of discussion. Please subscribe, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts, the Commentary Magazine Daily Podcast.